Alright, now we're on the step where you're going to need to do the speakers and the joysticks. So what I'm going to be using will be the Xbox 360 analog joysticks, the 3D printed mounts, and about 30 millimeters or maybe 1.25 inches of red and black wire. And then I've also got these M2 nylon screws, and those will be used to mount. You really could use 4, but I'm just going to use 2 for the corners. Or you can use standoffs instead of the in place of the little 3D printed design here. Okay, with the 3D printed mount, I found it easier just to remove all the jacket, but this is also only going to be applicable if you're using solid hookup wire, which this is 24 gauge, but it's perfect fit. It's just like the legs of a resistor, so it makes it very easy to just insert these. They're nice and stiff, and then you can also come in behind it underneath and insert your 3D printed part. So that's how I did it. Found it to work best. There's really no chance of bridging that, so I don't think you need to worry about the jacket. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to use the nylon nuts, try to line it up. The screws in the nuts, I should say. So they should fit right in and go right through the PCB. If you're having a hard time getting them in there, you might want to clean the holes out a little bit. Sometimes printers will do that, but it doesn't hurt just to file them out, especially when the part's on the bottom of the bed. So I'm just going to be using these 2 holes. Okay, yep, that did it. There we go. Okay, so now I've got it. Now I can flip it over, and I can put this little M2 nut on there. And you should be able to just finger tighten it for now. Get a screwdriver to do it, but luckily I was able to get that one on. Or you can use like a socket driver. Okay, so now that I've got that in, I'm going to push this down a little bit more. I could also go ahead and do the other M2 nut while I'm in here. It's always good to, I think, to get the fitment done. Okay, so now I've got both the nuts in. Now I'm going to go ahead and solder those. They're soldered. Now I'll use my flush cutters. Just trim. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And again, I can definitely fit those other M2s in there. At some point I want to design a little grill. That may be available by the time the video is done. We'll see. Okay, doing the next side, basically at the point where I can just finish it up. Did the same exact procedure. Alright, next up we're going to do the analog joysticks, and those only fit in one way. So you should see 3 pins at the top. That's how you know where to put it in. Just orient it that way. There's also 3 on the side. But it really only fits in one way. Okay. I would just make sure they fit in how you like them. And then you flip it over and just do the soldering. Okay. I'll go ahead and solder the joysticks. I would probably do the mechanical connections first, the bigger ones that are not connected. Doesn't really matter, but that's going to hold everything in nice and tight so it doesn't move around as easily. And everything should be nice and stiff when you move the joysticks. And mine are. If you feel any kind of wobble, then just make sure you recheck your soldering. Make sure there's nothing loose.